The Canadian Mental Health Association is involved in the mass genocide and targeting or gang stalking of the homelessness population, also those who experience homelessness and mental health challenges, by allowing their shelter staff to mentally abuse the homeless at homeless shelters like Emerald House in Kamloops, BC, one out of many entities claiming to help these marginalized populations in communities across Canada and worldwide, but in fact are actually contributing to the deterioration of the homelessness population mental health and wellness, due to corruption in the homeless shelters, from homeless shelter staff, who are employed to the Canadian Mental Health Association, engaging in targeting and gang stalking of vulnerable people who live in poverty and know the corruption of the government, society, and the establishment firsthand. Hence why they are targeted, because they pose a threat to exposing the corruption within the system and organizations that are using mental health, homelessness, and addiction as pathways to profit millions of dollars per year in Canada and worldwide. Emerald House in Kamloops, British Columbia, Canada is a homeless shelter run by the Canadian Mental Health Association. We ran a reconnaissance tool called WP Scan for WordPress websites against the website for Emerald House in Kamloops, BC. To enumerated the administrator usernames, those who own the website, which is Kamloops CMHA BC car. Only 2 users were found, Adam Burrows and Shelly Trudeau. Also, people who were homeless and lived at this shelter have reported abuse and violations of the British Columbia Human Rights Act under a form of harassment and abuse of power. One of the homeless residents filed a complaint with the BC Human Rights Tribunal Act, which was approved, but they did not have the money for a lawyer. They did contact a lawyer, with the copy of the Civil Rights Act package that was approved by the tribunal, and the lawyer accepted also, but the homeless resident of Emerald House did not have the money to pay the lawyer, so they did not follow through with the appointment. We are considering reopening that, and following through. This particular homeless resident was mentally abused, falsely accused of a crime, and lawfully and falsely kicked out of the shelter, and physically abused by being pushed from behind by a female staff as the resident was walking out of the door to leave the shelter, which was all on camera, which the time and date was documented by the resident, in the civil rights complaint package, at Emerald House in Kamloops, BC. This was one series of events out of many, on many different residents in similar ways. The staff were unprofessional and not compassionate in any way for the homeless. In fact, it was as if they were disgusted by the homeless. But why would people work at a homeless shelter just to abuse the homeless? It's an easy career path to a $26 an hour to start career, only an 8-month course you need to take, and most people don't want to work at a homeless shelter. So these desperate people take advantage of that demand for workers instead of actually having a true passion for wanting to support and help the homelessness populations to have a positive effect on their community. These demons see the job as an opportunity and an easy paycheck. The homeless residents can feel this and see the difference. This is not a new phenomenon, and it's not just limited to Kamloops, BC. It's global and nationwide. All through Canada many homeless have gone public about abuse and manipulation from corrupt staff and corrupt organizations that pose as entities in the community that are there to help those marginalized at-risk populations, but in reality, are only there to capitalize and profit from these social issues by asking for donations and getting grants and other government funding, also private sponsorships, all in the name of helping the homeless, people with mental health challenges and addiction. It's a business to these enterprises, and that's how they operate and treat it, and the homeless are just a product. The reason homelessness doesn't resolve is because they simply do not want it to. Because if homelessness and mental health is resolved, there is no need for a solution, which means there is no need for these organizations, and there is no need for them to get funding, or request donations anymore, and that they do is pocket 90% of the revenue and put 10% towards the actual cause, and a select few at the top are generating wealth off of this cash flow. There is over $100 million per year generated from homelessness and for homelessness, government funding, grants and donations. The Salvation Army in Victoria, BC charges the homeless $600 per month to live in a dorm in a bunk bed, with bed bugs, with 30 other men in one room, 30 men per dorm. There are 3 to 4 dorms. You get only 30 days free in one dorm and then you must pay the $600 per month or they kick you out. They generate over $28,500 per month, roughly $342,000 per year alone, just at one Salvation Army. That's an entire different pyramid scheme, fraudulent machine that profits from the homeless and does the exact same thing. It's a business. Mental health, homelessness and addiction. Most of the agencies built around these three social issues are there primarily to initiate this business model and capitalize instead of correct the problem. If the problem goes away and gets corrected, the money goes away for a group of individuals and entities. Engaging in this system, this is really happening, and we now have all the proof we need, and now individuals and organizations are being called out. It's a shame the law is also corrupt and will protect these people and organizations unlawfully and try to also target those who speak up against this fraudulent mass genocide against the homeless and mentally ill, violating human rights, engaging in a form of harassment in a large-scale organized manner. And people will now be exposed, the people directly and indirectly connected to this machine or any organizations involved with this pyramid scheme and murder of the homeless, addicted, mentally ill, and those who speak up against corruption and the corrupt government and systems designed to target specific populations who are vulnerable. Will be exposed, in depth. Individually, we have the ability to leak their private activities to the public and show proof they are operating in this manner. We have the ability to completely wipe out these organizations and have them replaced with real, genuine and sincere people who have a passion for community in the homeless, because once before they were also homeless. Only people with lived experience should be employed in these poverty-related fields, and there should be training and employment programs made to bring someone from homeless in the shelter to housed and then employed at the shelter or another organization related to poverty, homelessness, mental health and addiction, only. Ever. Period. Because this is non-existent, these people stay stuck in that loop and have no real opportunity. In fact, the system is designed in a way to keep them there, and designed against them, as they are attacked by shelter staff while the odds are already against them. This is British Columbia, Canada's culture, their system, profiting from homelessness, mental health and addiction. This is what's happening behind the scenes, truly. These are not conspiracies, these are real people's testimonies, from the homelessness population who are currently or previously living at these shelters. We will bring justice to the homeless, lost and broken, God's children, true warriors. The last shall be first and the first shall be last. The homeless and poor are God's people. This is why they're targeted. But God is much greater and more powerful than Satan and his demons. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.